Everyone told me to let it go, that digging into the past wouldn't change what happened, that sometimes it's better not to know. But they didn't grow up watching their father disappear behind the bars of a lie. My name is Morgan Tate, and when I was 11 years old, I watched my dad get handcuffed on our front lawn in front of the entire neighborhood. They said he embezzled money from the family company, Tate and Sons Construction, a third-generation firm my grandfather built and my uncles helped expand. I remember my mom screaming, my dad shaking his head, saying I didn't do it. But the evidence was stacked high and fast: bank transfers, emails, client complaints. He went to prison for 10 years. I visited him every other week, and each time he said the same thing: it wasn't me. They needed a fall guy. After my mom passed from cancer when I was 19, I stopped visiting. I didn't stop believing him. I just didn't know what to do with the rage. I was raised in the shadow of a scandal I didn't understand. My uncles, Graham and Todd, kept the business afloat and expanded it into high-end real estate. They never mentioned my father. Our family name, my name, became a silent shame. I left town for college, cut off contact, started my own career. But when I turned 28, a stranger approached me after a conference in Chicago. His name was Lewis. He said he used to work for Tate and Sons as a junior accountant. He looked nervous. He said, "I think your dad took the fall for something he didn't do." I felt the ground shift under me. He handed me a USB drive and disappeared. I flew home that night and opened it. Dozens of files, spreadsheets, internal memos, wire transfer patterns. And one memo labeled, "Redirect Plan, if IRS audit escalates." It named my father and marked him as the containment route. My uncles had framed him. The accounts were routed through a shell company registered under his name, but the payments went to properties owned by Graham and Todd. I dug deeper. I requested court documents. I found out that the forensic accounting used in the trial came from a firm that later turned out to have personal contracts with Graham's wife's law firm. Conflict of interest. I spent the next year collecting every possible record. Quietly. I didn't want them to know I was looking. I applied for an entry-level job at Tate and Sons under my mother's maiden name, Claire Hargrove. I wore glasses, dyed my hair, and kept my head down. They didn't recognize me. I got in. I worked in client relations, then finance. Slowly, I gained access. I waited 2 years, long enough to build trust, long enough to be invisible. Then I started copying files, transferring backups. I found everything: offshore accounts, bribe payouts, falsified contractor reports. And then I did the one thing they never expected. I became a whistleblower. I sent the package to the IRS, the state fraud department, and the media, all anonymously. I attached documents that outlined every transfer and connected every payment. The story broke in 48 hours. Construction empire under federal investigation. My uncles were arrested a week later. Their assets were frozen. Their board memberships revoked. They begged for deals, claimed ignorance. But the files didn't lie. I came forward only after the indictments. I stood on the courthouse steps, cameras flashing, and said, "My father didn't steal. He was stolen from by his own brothers." That clip went viral. My father was released 3 months later. His record was cleared. He walked out of prison with $20 and a tired heart. But when I picked him up, he smiled and said, "You did it." We bought a small piece of land on the edge of town and started a new company, Tate Daughters and Company. We build homes for veterans and single moms. My uncles? They live off state meal plans now. Sometimes I see their faces in the paper, hollow eyes, headlines full of shame. Everyone told me not to dig. But digging is what builders do. And this time, I built justice. If you believe the truth always finds a way to rise, hit like and subscribe. We bring you real feeling stories where the quiet ones come back loud every single day.